Hello, and welcome to today's talk on the complexity of gender diversity at Tasmania Fire Service.
The Tasmania Fire Service's TFS Gender Diversity Challenge exemplifies the complex interplay between formal and informal leadership, organizational culture, context, and its profound influence on capability development. Formal leadership sets strategic diversity goals, while informal leaders, such as influential brigade officers, exert significant social influence shaping day-to-day operational norms and behaviors. Followership theory highlights the reciprocal relationship between leaders and followers, underscoring that followers' acceptance or resistance to change significantly impacts leadership outcomes. Bastardos and Van Vugt, 2019, provide an evolutionary perspective, suggesting informal leaders tend to maintain the status quo to preserve their influence. This duality creates a dynamic tension where formal initiatives to increase diversity encounter resistance embedded in long-standing cultural practices and informal networks, which perpetuate homogeneity and implicitly reinforce exclusionary norms. Within TFS, this manifests as informal social sanctions, hindering gender diversity initiatives perceived as threats to established power dynamics, impeding formal leaders' efforts to transform recruitment and promotion processes. Consequently, bridging this divide fosters trust and legitimacy in diversity efforts, while ensuring policies are effectively interpreted and implemented on the ground. Additionally, Indigenous leadership perspectives suggest the importance of leaders engaging authentically with diverse community values, strengthening cultural competence and operational effectiveness. The culture within TFS reflects entrenched traditional masculine values common to emergency services, which act as implicit barriers to women's inclusion. Without embedding diversity as a core strategic capability, the organization's adaptability and operational resilience are compromised, undermining its dynamic capacity to respond to climate change's increasing demands on emergency services and engage effectively with Tasmania's diverse communities, as described by TFS, 2007. Moreover, diverse teams with women outperform homogeneous ones in problem-solving and innovation, further underscoring the strategic importance of addressing this capability gap.
Cultural context shapes leadership styles and the implementation of organizational capability. TFS' predominantly homogeneous culture constrains diverse leadership identities and narrows collective capability, limiting innovation and community responsiveness. Female representation allows the opportunity for stories about women to organically emerge, enhancing inclusivity at TFS.
Therefore, addressing the gender diversity gap necessitates interventions targeting both formal systems, such as policies and recruitment frameworks, and informal cultural norms, which require ongoing engagement and inclusivity efforts. However, the change to a more feminine workforce can lead to an authoritarian leadership structure as an emotional response, further reinforcing cultural norms and hindering diversity. Such a vacuum is illustrated by many surveyed respondents, including one who said, quote, "I haven't seen a white male career firefighter featured in any of the organisational materials. The pendulum has swung too far the other way." This interplay of culture, context and leadership aligns with Grint's 2005 concept of wicked problems, indicating gender diversity cannot be resolved through hierarchical command, but requires collaborative, adaptive leadership, engaging both formal and informal stakeholders. And if I said it, it must be true.
A key recommendation is to form an inclusivity task force, ITF, composed of formal leaders, executive officers, HR, respected informal leaders, senior brigade officers, leading firefighters, and external stakeholders. External stakeholders must include Tasmania Search and Rescue Emergency Services and Parks and Wildlife Service as state leaders for women representation in fire services and inclusive management pathways, respectfully. Additionally, collaboration with the Victoria SES as the national gender diversity leader, while enhancing interconnectivity, communication, and sense-making across intra-organizational and interstate lines, enhancing TFS' ability to sense and seize a broader range of opportunities in the future. Using EVA 2019 multi-perspective of collective leadership development, the ITF must begin with socio-material approach by ensuring the room is conducive to collaboration and all members are assigned time to meet equally, followed by an institutional approach to reconcile and redefine existing viewpoints. Finally, socio-relational interventions to enhance communication between members. An equal proportion of women must be included, or an enabling leader to magnify marginalized voices to enhance ITF adaptive spaces. Launch could be with an organizational-wide 24-hour hackathon, as well as quarterly, where brigades conduct collaborative idea generation to solve the diversity issue and select representatives. Selection should include those behind the best ideas, so they can champion it through the ITF, with ITF decisions supported by the organization. Furthermore, the task force could be used to address additional wicked problems encountered that require collaborative soft power, including crisis events.
The task force would facilitate open dialogue, identify cultural impediments to women's inclusion, and co-design strategies addressing both structural and social barriers. This may include redesign of recruitment and promotion frameworks to actively attract and support marginalized candidates, moving beyond rigid traditional pathways, implementing flexible working arrangements to further reduce structural barriers to participation, and enhance inclusivity by accommodating diverse needs, and design and implementation of continuous monitoring of diversity metrics and cultural indicators, with continuous feedback loops, informing iterative changes and enhance ongoing improvements.
Data transparency should be balanced with confidentiality to build trust, while progress reporting must involve the ITF, with diversity metrics incorporated into performance assessments and training modules to address assessed weaknesses and adapt to external changes. Diversity must be benchmarked against national standards in emergency services, with findings transparently shared to build accountability and collective ownership. This could include annual award ceremonies conducted by the ITF for individuals and teams identified as championing inclusivity and diversity, as well as the organisation for exceeding targets or national standards. Inclusivity enhances performance, cooperation, and fosters a compassionate learning organisation. To address entrenched cultural norms and resistance, the TFS must implement inclusive leadership development programs targeted at both formal and informal leaders, beginning with ITF members. Training must focus on enhancing individual cognitive and behavioural capabilities, such as emotional intelligence, especially awareness of implicit biases, inclusive communication techniques, and effective conflict resolution, empowering leaders to role model inclusivity behaviours.
TFS must invest in leadership development programs specifically aimed at preparing marginalized groups for higher-level roles within the organization, by addressing the unique challenges faced by underrepresented groups in traditionally male-dominated fields. High-potential male candidates must attend to enhance awareness toward diversity issues. Additionally, develop structured mentorship, sponsorship, and allyship opportunities for women, pairing them with experienced leaders to navigate organizational challenges and build leadership capabilities. This may also include potential underrepresented recruits to guide them through the application process, showcasing the TFS as an inclusive employer. These initiatives address the informal leadership dynamics by fostering networks of support and enabling women to navigate organizational hierarchies more effectively while providing male employees leadership development opportunities.
This systemic approach will support the TFS's evolution towards a more resilient, adaptive, and community-aligned organization through immediate specific actions that operationalize long-term organizational strategic goals. Thank you for listening. Goodbye and good luck.
This is what it is, okay? I said empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Be water, my friend.